Are going live. Welcome everyone to our Success Mastermind for Monday, the 8th. 8th. How did that happen? It's the 8th of February. I was still celebrating Groundhog Day. I was just reveling in the festivities with a lack of festivities for Groundhog Day. But it's already the 8th of February. We're going to get stuff done. We are getting stuff done. I know we've got a lot of esteemed people tuning in to our mastermind sessions here. And of course, we do have a pretty full calendar today as well. Let me get housekeeping out of the way. You know what? I got a bunch of housekeeping. Let me get this out of the way, and then we'll get into the idea that was just coming up for me today as a result of tuning into our conversation that was going on just before we went live. We do have, of course, our hospitality suite, which is open whenever we're not in session. We have e-commerce work group with Evelyn Melendez today at 3 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. Evelyn, do you have a topic picked out already, or are you surveying people to see what e-commerce strategies you'll be talking about?
Not really. We
No.
don't. We're going to have an open floor today to see what people are struggling with and address those as we go.
Okay. Well, I know we've got people succeeding in various forms of e-commerce here, and some have branched out into multiple forms of e-commerce. So that's good. Thank you, Evelyn, for that work that you do there. That's beautiful. Evelyn, for those who don't know, also runs our Facebook group, which everyone who's a member here certainly has access to. And then we're going to be wrapping up this evening, tomorrow morning for you across the pond. At 9 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, we're going to have our book study. We're going to be on the sharpening of saws. Yes, we are the seventh habit of highly effective people with Stephen Covey. We're going to wrap up with his afterword and what's that second to last chapter in his book called? For those of you who've read the book all the way through, I know there's a couple of little chapters after the sharpen the saw, habit 7, inside out again. That's it, inside out again. And then the afterword, which is really good. So we're going to read that as well. That's all for next week, but be sure that you're through the sharpening of the saw habit today. And then what else do we have? We have a couple things. I want to recognize Star Hart, our friend Star from England, and Ivier, who apparently has been using this service a lot. Star has set up a walking club, or hiking or running, or I guess whatever version of two-legged activities that you do. We do have now on our Facebook group, and you will see a link to it showing up in the website here shortly as well, in the members site. We do have our Strava walking group. Actually, for those who don't know, Strava is an app that you can download to your mobile device, iOS or Android, whatever. I downloaded it. I do need to still set it up, and there's lots of things you click on to get it running. But the idea here is that whenever you decide to go do some exercise, which is a good thing to do, get some sun, right? Or like Ivier, walk out in the snow, run in the snow, do something in the snow because you're Ivier and you like to run in the snow. But that gets tracked. And you can actually show your statistics and maybe even have little friendly competitions and things like this. I've often said, as easy as it is to do exercise daily, it's even easier to not do it, right? We're busy, right? I'm busy. Are you busy? I'm too busy, right? But now that others are watching, not just others, but your friends, part of your mastermind group, your family here, right? Now that you know you're not alone in this, well, maybe we'll go ahead and do it then, right? Whatever we've got to do to trick ourselves into doing things which may not be habitual, but are high integrity actions. So again, hats off to Star for putting that together. I did fire up the app and was about to record some walking, and then it said, well, you need to set this and that. You need to turn on background app refresh. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I got to sit there and figure out what to do with the app. I know it's probably not a big deal, but I can easily make it a big deal. So thank you all who are participating in that. The other thing is that we now have our new members profiles section. Let me go ahead and share my screen here real quick. This is fun. I want to thank Virginia Pepitone, who oddly still hasn't submitted her profile, although she was the one who prompted all this. she's like, hey, let's do something like this so we can have a bit more community here in the community. So under people, of course, we got facilitators, which we've always had. There's Adrian, my goodness. There's our friend Ego, and well wishing to Ego. I know she's recovering from a little infirmity. Mark, Glenn, Wayne, look at this beautiful group of people, right? Look at all these wonderful people that facilitate our sessions right here. Well, guess what? Now we've got another section, member profiles, which we've had 3 people submit them so far. So all you do is you go in here. If you're on a Mac, you click on that. If you're on a PC, you click on that. That's a template. You get the template, you fill it out, and then we'll publish your contact card, right? Your websites, any promotional stuff. You got links you want to promote. You got social media, phone, birthday, whatever, right? So it's whatever you want to publish to your other fellow members here. It's a fun picture with Ingrid. And of course, David's looking snappy as always. And Daisy's gorgeous. And there you go. So there's that. You'll find that under the people's section of the member site. So any questions about that, go ahead and email support. contact@johnlavenia.com is the support email address. Today, here's what's coming up for me. I was just talking to a group of business colleagues in a different e-commerce business that I've been pretty active in for the last couple of years. It's made me 6 figures, me and my wife. It's been steady as she goes, very nice. And right now we're having a contest, like a promotion, and that's fun, right? That's game. People like games. My daughter likes to play games. She's 10. I'm 50. I still like to play games. Anybody not like games? Games are fun. When there's a carrot on the stick and I can reach for something, and I'm not vague about what that is. That's something I want, right? I've shared from time to time about my initial goals when I was becoming successful as an entrepreneur. I wanted that new Lexus, for example. And but I wasn't vague about that. There was this carrot, right? It was the Lexus, it was the job-free lifestyle, it was the fruits of whatever action I was about to take, which I wasn't so sure of. I wasn't so sure of the action that I was going to take. What's going to get me to that goal, to that end result? Well, nobody knows how to reach a goal until they've reached it, right? Otherwise, you would have reached it already, right? So what do we know that we have to do? We have to put one step in front of the other. I guess pun intended when we think about our walking and running club, right? You got to put one step in front of the other. You got to start. Otherwise, you can't see further down the trail. A couple of weeks ago, my daughter and I climbed a little mountain near Tucson, Arizona, called Wasson Peak. Fun hike, and you can't see the summit for most of the trail that you're on. There's these other smaller summits. There's a bit of saddles and little peaks and everything, but the actual summit is kind of occluded while you're on the trail. You can see it if you're far away. You can see, oh, there's the summit. But when you're on the trail, you can't see the summit. And even when you get on this one crest, right, then you think, oh, that one must be the summit. No, then you get on the next crest. No, that one must be the summit. So it's one of those things where you can't experience the goal or the summit in this case without actually setting foot, not knowing where exactly that trail is going to take you prior to getting to the summit. But the summit is there. And you're not vague about that, right? You know that the summit is there. You're not quite sure what path or where that path will go, but you're going to get there. And so being vague is not an advantage. And I think a lot of times we've got to get unvague about stuff. That's not a real word, but I like using it. I need to get unvague about where I'm going with all this, because here's what happens. When I get unvague, in other words, when I have a bit of specificity about what I actually want, what is that carrot, right? What does it look like? What does it smell like? Everything. Right? If I know the end result, or what I like to call the guaranteed future outcome, I tend to get inspired ideas. Inspired ideas. Now, what's that word inspired? Inspired, in spirit. In other words, it's not just logic. It's not just logic. It's not just me thinking, oh, let me make my spreadsheets, and now I've got my plans, and I know how many steps it's going to take. I don't know how many steps it's going to take. I don't know the trail. I will know it because I'm putting one foot in front of the other, but I don't know all the drama that leads up to that guaranteed future outcome. I just don't know. Now, in the case of climbing Wasson Peak, I've done it before. I knew what we were in for. It's one of the reasons I chose that trail. I thought it would be a good one for my daughter. And she crushed it, by the way. She was awesome. You can see pictures on Facebook. But when it comes to the idea of achieving some worthy goal, which is something we haven't done before, which let's say is in the realm of business, e-commerce, for example, um, marketing, sales, some sort of expansion effort that you're going to have to put into your business in order to reach this goal. Here's what I have found, and it's an interesting thing. Inspired ideas, inspired action come when I'm inspired by the goal, not necessarily inspired by the work, right? Oh, I'm going to climb that mountain, right? I mean, maybe that's a fun thing for me. Maybe it's not. Running every day or walking or doing the exercise, right? To keep your immune system up, get some sun, get some exercise. That's, by the way, that's my secret. Nutrition and exercise. We don't have to belabor, 10 million different, data and all this. It's just, use the body. And yeah, I understand some people have different immune conditions and such. Keep your immunity up, right? Nutrition and exercise, supplementation, proper rest, right? These are common sense kind of things to do. And I know a lot of people here are doing them. Having said that, now that I've got this idea of where I want to go, I'm now getting ideas on how to get there, even though I haven't done it yet. Case in point, I was talking to this business group today, and we've got this promotion going on. We've got this game, we've got this goal. And the goal is something that we get to choose. There's part of the game is that we get to kind of shape this into the ideal scene for what we want as participants. So that could be a blessing and a curse. That could be like, oh, look how much self-determinism I have on this. On the other hand, I'm not quite sure. All right, so we got to get unvague. But assuming we can get unvague and assuming we can decide what we want, now I get inspired ideas. You know what? I'd really like that. What could I do to accomplish that? In this case, it's a sales and marketing kind of a thing where obviously customers are necessary to participate and to achieve the end result of the promotion, to play the game, so to speak. And so I was thinking, what could I do to induce this many customers? You see, now I'm getting specific. This many customers, this much action, this much business volume, whatever is required to play the game, to win the game. What can I do that I haven't yet done? And I'm getting inspired ideas. Inspired because I've got a result that I want. You get this? So I'm in the spirit of accomplishment, in the spirit of having the experience of, whatever the carrot on the stick is, right? The promotion, the prize, whatever it happens to be. Do you want that? Okay, great. How can you get that? That's the question I ask myself. How can I get that? And how can I boil that down into less time? Because you see, most people, myself, I'll speak for myself, I tend to give myself too much time. Like, people accomplish great things when their necessity level is high. Again, we could say that's also inspired ideas, inspired action, right? Necessity level is high. Action, statistics, doing this, right? All that turns up because we're in it, where we get into a flow. We see the result. We see the necessity of the result, which could be positive or negative. I've got to get out of that bad situation, or I'm looking to get into, that good situation. I could tell you from my own experience, it's more inspirational to move toward what you want than just out of what you don't want. Although that may be the initial impetus to get us off our ass and do something, right? High necessity level, red lights, emergency, right? SOS, something, right? Red alert, red alert. All right, move your ass, do something, right? I would call that inspired too. It's not necessarily the condition you want to live in all the time, in a chronic state of emergency. And it's one of the reasons why we're reading the book that we've been reading for the last 7 weeks, right? Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So this way we're not living in a state of constant crisis management, right? So we begin with the end in mind. We put first things first, right? We've been through the first, 6 habits already. And hopefully we're applying that to a higher degree in our life. Keep in mind, they're habits. This isn't something you do once like an event. It's something that's more of a process. Which brings me back to where I'm going here with this whole inspired action. And consider this for yourself. Okay, so I just brought up the idea of the difference between events and processes. A lot of times people look at their goal achievement as a process, and it is. But now I'm boiling down into an event, like this game, like this promotion, like achieving this goal. I'm boiling this down into an event. You see, a process can take as long as it takes, but an event has a timeline to it. An event could be, this is the 1 month promo, or this is the 1 week. Now that it's Monday, February 8th, right? This is the event, the game that I've just enrolled myself into for this week is I get this thing, this experience, this goal at the end of this week once I've accomplished this. So now I've taken this process and I've chunked it down into an event, a game, a promotion, a reason, yes, a reason to do something specific and to come up with ideas on how to get that done. So in my case, I had I'll just let you know. Here's what came across my mind right now as I was talking to some of my colleagues here on this. I was thinking, you know what, we've got this. There's a certain amount of like points. You can get points for doing certain things, and I was thinking, if each of us helped one person in the public, just raw public, they're not already customers, they're not whatever, but we help them engage in the affiliate marketing side of this promotion, this business, this product line that we're dealing with. If we helped one person do that and help them make $1,000, help one person make $1,000 this week, next 2 weeks, whatever, right? Just pick a timeline on that. Then we would all be in a position to have the bigger prize, right? So help somebody else get what they want, and then we get what we want. I mean, that's what was the late Zig Ziglar said that, right? Help enough other people get what they want, you automatically get what you want. And isn't that what we're doing when we're engaging in business, dealing with customers, dealing whatever kind of business you're in, right? You're the plumbing guy, right? And somebody's toilet is backed up or something, and you get to do the very glamorous and wonderful work of getting that plumbing running. Okay, you're giving them what they want, and then you get what you want, right? You get paid, and you get a good testimonial and referrals, and you get to be the master plumber guy. So so in that, with that in mind, right, knowing that we can never do this alone, I was thinking out loud, you know what, I'm going to find one person who wants to make $1,000 this week, and I'm going to help them do that. So now that's an event, right? That's not just a process. And sure, there's processes that go into causing that to happen. But now that I've got that event, all right, what mechanics have to go into that? Well, I'm going to have to contact some people, right? See who's a player, right? Who wants to play? Because I'm having a game, right? This is going to be fun. It's going to be fun for me. It's going to be fun and profitable for somebody. If they want what we're doing, which, by the way, isn't everyone. Some people may hear just the example that I'm setting out here and say, well, who wouldn't want that? Everybody wants that. Well, that's we can have a much longer conversation about that, because there's effort involved, right? It's not like an effortless victory. You just click the easy button and suddenly there's gold bullion raining down from the sky. And sadly, that is the education or expectancy level of a lot of people these days, thanks to whatever influences them up to this point. But no, there's exchange that happens in the marketplace, right? People deliver value into the marketplace in order to be remunerated. Your income increases the more you deliver value to the marketplace. To quote another guy who recently left the planet, Jim Rohn, you want to increase your income, increase your value to the marketplace. That's it. That's the equation. Increase your value to the marketplace, which, by the way, you don't have to necessarily do physically showing up doing the plumbing, although that is one way to deliver value into the marketplace. But there are leveraged ways to do that. I know a lot of us have read Robert Kiyosaki, some of his work, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, where he talks about the 4 different quadrants of or approaches, right, to doing what? Living, surviving, paying your bills. Number one would be the employee, which is very common, right? That is, you don't have any leverage there, right? You are the leverage for the other guy. It's a very linear income kind of a scenario, trading hours for dollars, and not a whole lot of causation in that. Then step up would be self-employed, which I know many of us here have taken that step already. So now I've got a bit more self-determinism about this. I've got control, but I'm still doing the work, right? It's rather laborious and can still be rather linear, not much leverage in that. But you could potentially make a lot more money, but it's still not the whole show, right? So the next quadrant is the B, the business owner quadrant, or the bigger business owner. Now we're getting leverage. Now certainly we've got control, and understand control can equal profit. Control and profit go hand in hand. And now you can also delegate, and that's a whole new can of worms that you can explore. You're delegating to people who hopefully can do certain tasks better than you. They can do the video editing, they can do the accounting, they can do things that you don't typically take delight in. And hopefully do it better than you and do it for pennies on the dollar. You get to make more money because more value is being delivered into the marketplace with or without your physical presence. Now we're talking. But all three of those methods that we just talked about, employee, self-employed, and business owner, fall under the heading of earned income. Earned income. There's a fourth quadrant, which is far out over here, at least in my view, having grown up on the streets of New Jersey with zero examples of this actually working, and that is the investor quadrant. The investor. Now we're getting into capital gains. So in the world, right, there's two ways to make money, like in the whole world, two ways: people working and money working. Those two ways, right? So now with the investor quadrant, I'm not showing up at all. I'm saying, you, Adrian, you look competent. Here, have some money, Adrian. Go grow my investment. Go be awesome, you competent person, you. And here's some money. I'm not touching it. It's your deal, right? I'm investing in you. By the way, I think Adrian's a good guy to invest in, by the way. Both Adrians. We got two Adrians in our midst, although I don't see Adrian Jackson here today. But I do see Mr. Gardner, Professor Gardner. So where do you fall into all this? If it's the employee quadrant and only the employee quadrant, well, then there's not a whole lot of things you can do within that quadrant except to outgrow your post, to deliver better, stronger, faster, to outgrow it, to get that promotion, to do something that you are recognized. Now, I know a lot of times people talk about, well, there's office politics, and look, the last job I ever had working in a corporation, I got 3 pay cuts in a year. They called them promotions because I was out producing like a madman. Okay. So yeah, I outgrew my post so much to the point where they wanted to keep me under control. So they gave me a promotion at a pay cut. That happened 3 times in a year. And that's all about the short-sightedness of how some corporations are run. What a blessing. What a blessing. I wouldn't be talking to you here today had I not had that unfortunate circumstance that forced me out of that quadrant. See, not only had I outgrown my post, I had outgrown that quadrant. But the next trap is the self-employed trap, right? So where I'm at now is focused on the B and I, the business owner and the investor quadrants, looking at how can I have leveraged income? Yes, people working, earned income. And how can I also have capital gains where it's money working, using both methods of making money to create, the prosperity, the affluence. And really, I think the end result that we're all looking for is having options in our life. It's not necessarily Lamborghinis and whatever, although it may be. If that's your thing, okay, fine. I'm kind of over it. But if that's your thing, do your thing. But you can do more of that thing with money than you can without. Unapologetically, right? Even people who are like we've got people here right here in this group engaged in philanthropic work. We heard, I think it was Emma, is doing volunteer work with people. And so can you do more of that with money than you can without? Of course you can. If money just makes you more of what you already are, and it allows you to extend service beyond your own physical presence, right? Just like the business owner, just like the investor. What's the investor doing? They're extending service beyond their own physical presence by investing in some competent enterprise that delivers value into the marketplace. Fantastic. Okay. So knowing that, no apologies on this. Is there something that perhaps you've been denying yourself up to this point? Maybe you've been asking the wrong question. The question, am I worthy of my goal? Wrong question. Wrong question. The question is my goal worthy of me? Am I reaching high enough based on my intentions and based on what I know I can do with this money? Not only provide for myself, get the Lamborghini, feed my family. That's all spectacular. But what else beyond that? What else? I think a lot of times I haven't thought big enough. I'll admit that right here to this group. This is my family here, right? And if you're watching this on the interwebs, then you can be family too. Just go to jlsuccessmastermind.com, get yourself a 2-week free trial, and you get to see a whole lot more than just these general sessions. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. Really good stuff too. Great people. My goodness, best people ever. Ever. I love you guys. I love you. So, all right, enough with the tongue bath. But how far are we willing to take this? Take this meaning our mission in life. And have we identified that? Or are we also vague about that? If so, we need to get unvague. And there's been plenty of times where I've had to stop and look and say, John, you're being vague, you're playing small, which is easy to do. Conditioning, right? Insert excuse here. Oh, I grew up poor on the streets of New Jersey. Oh, I don't know anybody who's ever been successful at anything. I can't say that anymore, but still, that was in my repertoire at one point. It's easy to play that song again. Right? I know we've got some fans of rock and roll here. How many times do you think the Rolling Stones played Satisfaction? Do you think Mick Jagger's excited to sing Satisfaction? Really? I got to sing that friggin' song again? Yeah, you got to sing it again. Well, guess what? People got value out of that song. I didn't get value out of the song of my excuses. That song didn't bring any fans. So where I'm at with all this today is how can we, and it's really a play on the same theme that I keep coming back to, is what can we get done? Ladies and gentlemen, what can we get done? What can I get done? Yeah, I've got this process, which is my life. Yes, I've got my goals, I've got my intention, I've got my purposes, and they're good and right, and I believe they're worthy of me. But as easy as it is to do it, it's even easier to just not do it. Just like the running, just like insert anything, right? As easy as it is to do. Other people are doing it. I could be doing it, but it's even easier for me to not do it because, and then here's all my becauses. Can I make an event out of this? Can I go ahead and find one person to help make $1,000 this week? I can. I'm going to have to prioritize some stuff, move some stuff around. I am friggin' busy. See, here I go with the excuses again, right? And I'm not making that up. I am like way, way beyond reason at this point. Unreasonable. And that's exactly the kind of person I need to be. I need to be unreasonable. We don't stand on ceremony so much when we've got deadlines, when we've got, here's the amount of time that I'm giving myself. And like I already revealed, I typically give myself too much time, right? Like a leisurely walk or something. How about a sprint? Sorry for all these walking and running metaphors today, although Star's walking group was on my mind. It's our walking group. Star made it for us. So I'll make sure I get the link in the website. But can we make an event out of this? This week, can we make an event out of your business, your goals, right? Can we set A to B, nothing vague about it, and start coming up with inspired ideas on how to get from A to B? That's it. If we know what B looks like, and we know that it exists, we're not sure how to get there, but can we get some inspired ideas on how to get there and then execute? Well, don't think about it. Don't keep talking. Stop, right? And start working, right? Let's talk, more action, knowing that you don't know all the answers, but you've got an idea, and that idea can take shape. Isn't this how every accomplishment in your life has happened? How many people who are married here had the exact person in their mind, that they wound up marrying? I didn't. I didn't think I'd ever be married, right? I met Shannon. A lot of you know Shannon, who just, by the way, just launched her accelerator program. Holy crap, the amount of value she's delivering into the marketplace. I met Shannon in 1997 on an online Yahoo personal ad. I don't think Yahoo runs personal ads anymore, but that's how we met. How else, I guess, does a 20-something-year-old guy who works all the time meet people, right? Arguably sane people. That's an interesting one. These days, I don't know. I don't know what the dating scene looks like. I don't want to know. But but think about that. I didn't know. I didn't think I'd ever be married. A father? A father? Oh, no. Yeah. She's 10. She's in the other room. Many of you know her. She's brilliant. We were discussing, Adrian, you'll be proud. I'm leaning on Adrian a bit here today. We were discussing business negotiations yesterday. She had a business deal. She does her jewelry and it's called Luck and Lovely, right? She does the stand at the farmer's market. She's 10 years old, right? She's got the jewelry. She's got the room fragrance spray with the essential oils. It's Luck and Lovely. And she had a customer who there was a little bit of a disagreement, and I was coaching her on how do you stay cool and negotiate the proper deal. So we had a little lesson on that. Anyway, I'm on a bit of a tangent now. What are we going to accomplish this week that we can make an event out of, a fun event, because you got a reason to, you know what that reason is. And now you're going to get some inspired ideas. And before you could talk yourself out of those ideas, do something to make it happen. Do something to get on that path, cross the Rubicon, the point of no return, right? And now you've got momentum. And maybe you're wrong. Maybe it's, this one didn't work. Okay. But now you got another inspired idea. But you never know until you do it. And I think that's the thing that quite often stops people from reaching is they overthink this stuff. And Napoleon Hill said in that final chapter in Think and Grow Rich, the 6 ghosts of fear, right? What's the one thing that stops people from really, committing to their work, their goal, their mission? Fear of criticism. Fear of criticism. That was number 2 on the list of 6. Fear of criticism. We talk ourselves out of this because we project what we think other people might think. Holy crap, right? What if we just do it? What if we stop talking ourselves out of stuff and we start listening to that inner voice that says, you know what, you could do this, and then we just do it. I think that would be a good thing for us to do this week. Now that I've revealed that I have an event that I'm going to be running this week, I'm going to have to do something. Otherwise, you guys can hold me to account next Monday and say, hey, John, how'd that go? And then I could tell you my excuses and why, I'm too busy. Right? That's easy. Actually, for me, it's not easy. So I'm going to stop talking. It's already half past the hour, and we do have some people here who I know have an event that you can launch this week, something that you can come out here, and you don't have to reveal it if you don't want to, but you could say, you know what, I've got this idea. And yes, it's on purpose. Yes, it's on the path towards that summit, which I haven't seen the summit yet, but here's a game that I can play with myself this week, or with my team, my group, my participants, right? So here's something that I can do that would make it fun and put my stats up, because I'm going to invent a reason to put my stats up this week. Floor's open. Come on down if you want to raise your hand. We will get you out here. Hopefully, I made some sense here today. That was what was going through my brain. And we do have Professor Gardner. Adrian, please, sir, get us started.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to defer to Nicola there. I didn't see any hands up, so I thought I'd just pile in to get going. But John, it reminds me the get unvague, get on with it, have a go because you don't know all the answers. Reminded me straight away of this old problem we've talked about of perfection and perfect all over again. Don't wait. Do not wait for everything to be fully aligned, all the planets to be in a row, perfect, because it very rarely happens. So what you say is absolutely right. Get unvague, but just have a go, because you can overcome blockages and problems along the way and find another route, go around the side of the hill instead of straight over the ridge. But if you wait for everything to be perfect, I can tell you're unlikely to ever get to the top of that peak that you're talking about, John. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you agree with that, but it's a classic excuse, probably the biggest one we've got. Oh, it isn't quite right. I'm going to wait.
Adrian, you're in Grand Cayman, and so literally on an island, and you can obviously work virtually. But is there anything that you could think of that you could conceive right now as an inspired event, a game that you can play, that you can set the rules and all of it? I mean, it's your game, right? Can you do that?
Well, the biggest game at the moment is literally trying to get myself into an Amazon territory to be able to do business, because that has proven to be more difficult than I could have imagined. Again, I didn't know all the answers when I started, and now I've discovered that not being in an Amazon territory, particularly in an offshore center, is like being branded public enemy number one for e-commerce. So that's the game I'm playing at the moment, trying to outwit the robots, the client due diligence systems, which are all programmed to fight you from a different angle in a different way. But the net result is the same. You get turned down for different reasons. So that's the game I'm playing at the moment, and it's quite interesting. But I'm going to win it. I've got to overcome it.
Okay, got it, got it. So there's barriers in any game. There's going to be barriers. I guess there's also alternatives, right? You're free to play a different game or to. Yesterday, I think was Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, it was. Yesterday was Super Bowl Sunday. I I didn't watch. I didn't watch, but some people did. Lots of other people did, and in that game, right, American football, you can throw the ball, you can pass the ball, you can run with the ball, you can fake. Right, we're going left. Actually, we're going right. So maybe there's pivots. Maybe there's other things, and with the Amazon robot deal, is there a way to fake the robot? Is there a way to sidestep? Or maybe it's not Amazon. Maybe it's, hey, we're on Shopify, Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, eBay. I don't know. Maybe there's a different, another field right next to that field. I don't know. You would know.
I think you're right, John. I think it's sort of like snakes and ladders. We don't control all the moves. We're rolling the dice. We're going to get sent back a couple of moves. We've got to get back up the ladder, and eventually we'll get to the top. But you're going to have a few knockbacks along the way where they put you straight down the snake's tail. So it is all a game, particularly now that we're not dealing with real people quite often. These algorithms, these systems, these voice activated chat bots, etc., they are programmed in a particular way. So you couldn't have summarized it better when you called it a game, because it really, really is now. How to get through that system and win and achieve our goals is going to be more and more like that. You can't just phone up the friendly manager and say, hey, look, I know what it says on the thing, but it's X, Y, Z. It's no, does not compute. You're not in the system. You're out. So we have to be better at playing games, and we have to be better than those algorithms and robots at getting the response we want. We've got to be more inventive.
Right. And I guess for your own sanity, and then we'll get to Nicola, knowing that you've got power of choice of whether or not you even want to play that game. I mean, you could say, look, this is an unwinnable game.
Change the board.
I'm out, right?
Change the board. Move on to a new game. Absolutely. Right. You've got to be prepared to do that sometimes. And I said that in a talk a while ago. You should never be afraid to do a U-turn. You could find that you just invest another 6 months in something that was never going to be quite right, rather than wasting 2 months and going ahead in another month in the right direction. Never be afraid.
I hate cutting my losses, though, Adrian. Yeah. I hate that.
Well, you have to do it. But that is the key thing, and I couldn't stress this more. It applies to fund managers, stock pickers, people with plans. Everybody has the same problem. You can get too in love with the project, get so far into the river, you will not turn back when you can see that the other side of the bank ain't looking as you expected it to. And the biggest discipline for all of us is knowing when to say, hey, I got to go back to the other bank, replan, and go in the right direction. I mean, I've literally torn up and restarted whole drafts which have gone on for days because I realized they weren't ever going to work. That's days of work, but then I could have wasted weeks more and still not got the result. It's that mental discipline and iron to say, yep, I've made a mistake here, or it wasn't what I expected. I've learned from that. I'm going back, and then I'm going forward a lot stronger. Wow. That's important in a game, John. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Ingrid hit it in the chat. Keep emotion out of the game. Yeah.
Yep.
Good luck.
It's hard. It's hard.
Right.
That's what we look for in a good fund manager. They have to be able to cut their losses and know when to sell out.
Yeah.
And when they've made a mistake. You get too wedded to the idea, you're going to pile the losses up higher. I can think of times when I've done that, and it's cost me a lot. Yep.
A lot.
It's the hardest discipline.
Like
Really
7
tough.
figures. It's cost me 7 figures.
Right.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. So getting back to sanity. By the way, everyone, tune into Adrian Garner's Life and Business Tools every other Tuesday evening. We got the whole archive of them in there. Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Adrian, for all you do. And speaking of sanity, let's get back to center now, ladies and gentlemen, with our favorite group meditation leader, Nicola Black. Hi, Nicola. How are
Oh,
you?
what an introduction.
All right.
Oh, good. Really good talk. Although Adrian's point there at the end's just sent my mind off in a different direction, because I've just had to make a decision just before this, actually, but I think you've probably just finalized it, to not continue my first Amazon product. And like you, John, that was, I don't like to give up, but I've tried it from all possible angles, and it's just not stacking up, I don't think. So yeah, it's never good to, but it's not a complete closure of that route. I just have to pivot and move again. But yes, anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about. So yes, your point on, can we make a game out of it? So last night I was sitting down to set my targets, my goals for the week. And one of the things I've mentioned before, I'm doing a course in NLP, hypnotherapy and life coaching. And I'm really enjoying it, but I've been doing it since November because I can do it in my own time and my own pace. And I kind of sat down last night and I thought, I could have done this by now. And why have I not completed it? And I'm just scheduling a few hours every week, so I'm still kind of keeping the momentum there. But why have I not made that leap into actually finalizing it and then doing something with it? So I set myself a little goal last night to actually find my first client this week. And actually, because although I'm not fully certified, you can still kind of practice exercises. And actually start practicing on it. And I thought, that's what's been stopping us, because I know that once I finish the course, I've got to take that next leap and put myself out there and actually start practicing what I preach. And that has been the internal kind of block. But in the way after I set that little kind of challenge to myself to go out there and find someone, it totally changed my mindset, because it was less about me and it became more about who can I help. And as soon as it became about that, it totally changes the dynamic. And just listening to you talk about you're looking for who can I help make £1,000 this week? It takes you out of the equation and you're actually then of service. And it just puts I've got a different kind of momentum, a different motivation towards it now. So I've now already got somebody in mind who I'll go and approach this week, because I know what I can do for is going to help them. So I think I've got that little game going now, and I'm pretty sure I'll achieve it. But before, when it was just about me, it's a different. So it's just thoughts going through my head as you were speaking there, and I think that's been the kind of what I hadn't realized last night, is that's the change in mindset I needed to get out there and just do it. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So back to like the Jim Rohn idea, not Jim Rohn, the Zig Ziglar, right? Help others get what they want, then you get what you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think a lot of times we business folks, we look at our charts, our stats, our income, and sometimes it's easy to get into the, I'm looking for cheese, like I'm the rat, right? Looking for cheese. But that's, I think, where a lot of anxiety comes from, right? Trying to get. Rather than, again, I'll refer to Napoleon Hill, where he talked about the QQS equation, the quality, quantity, and spirit of the service that we provide, right? So the quality, quantity, and spirit of what? Of the getting? No, of the service. Quality, quantity, and spirit. So that's a fun game, right? Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to experience refusal, right? Refusal happens, no thank you. Okay, but is that rejection? No, rejection is personal, and I'm not just trying to get, right? Can't hurt me, right? Hopefully, for your sake, you accept the offer because I'm attempting to give, assuming that the benefits are right for you and what you want. So I think right there, Nicola, so insightful, right? How can we How can we make the event about the other person? So the game is, yeah, here's the prize that I get. That's fine. And I know what that is. And I know I'm going to get it. I know I'm going to get it. Now that I know I'm going to get it, now I'm not going to think about, not getting it, right? There's no counter intention or counter postulate to that. I already know that's a guaranteed future outcome. Now, how can I serve you? Let's play this game so you can get what you want. I'm going to get what I want too, but let's help you get what you want. And let's do it right now. Let's not stand on ceremony. Right. Because especially in the age of COVID, and we're going to go to Evelyn next. I think there's a lot of people who have backburnered their games, their events, their purposes. And it's a someday kind of a thing, because now, insert excuse here, we've got these circumstances, these delays. I think it's easy to live in a state of chronic delay. Chronic delay. Oh my goodness. Oh, but when we're in the game, then it's like, nobody can waste my time because I am on purpose, right? There's no delay, right? I'm going to pivot like what Adrian was talking about. And in your case, Nicola, I'll tell you what, you got somebody asking to be your client right here in the chat, right? So yeah. Thank you for that. And that reminder of serve, right? Make it about the other person. How can I serve? I'll tell you one person who serves often here is Evelyn Melendez. Evelyn and Javier are like VIPs in my world. What's up, Evelyn?
Hey, John, thank you for the subject today because it hits right home.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nicola, I feel that my private label, product that I started this journey with was not going to take off the way that we hear that it may take off. And that's why early on in the game, I looked for different sources of income. You guys know my story. You've heard it. I lost my salary. I still have the job, but with a draw that in other words, have to pay back whatever it is that I earn. So that's where I went with my consulting. But the consulting came because I learned something different. I learned that we can do online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and replens. And I'm happy to say that I started going more into it in November. And so far, for the first week in February, from that date, I'm almost at 17,000. It's not ideal, but guess what? It's money. It's moving. It's happening. And I am analyzing what's working for me, what's not working for me. And I am just ready to take off. I can see the sales are coming. Everything is selling. But before that, I was stuck, John. I was looking at my private label moving, but not moving as fast as we thought when we got the program from Blue Sky, that it was gonna, sell out in a week. Not all of us hit it right in the nail the first time, but that doesn't mean you give up. That means it's time to take action. We need to do something about it. We need to tweak, find other ways. And that's, I think the purpose of this call, of what you're talking about today. What are we going to do? Sitting around thinking about it, twiddling our fingers, is not going to make things happen. It's taking action. It's doing what in the world are we going to do, right? Whether it is that we're going in the network marketing route, whether it is that we're going with Shopify, we stick around with Amazon, or what are we going to do? But do something. Don't sit around. Don't wait for things to come to you just because you put it out to the universe. Action has to be taken. So, that's what comes to me. I keep on looking at my numbers and I'm like, great. So this week has been my highest week so far in sales. What did I sell? What happened? What products are moving? So let me go and get more. So now I know I need to have more inventory of this other product. And that's how I keep on going. So at the end of the day, you guys, I think that EVA calls me Madam Chop Chop for a reason. And that is chop chop, guys. Get it done. Let's get it done.
Thank you. So that is a great reminder about the difference between the process and the event within the process, right? So you got more urgency on that. You're pivoting because there's only so much time to play the game. Yesterday was the biggest football game of the year, right? This is not something we can put off till tomorrow anymore, right? It's now or never. So, and this isn't something that now we're feeling a bunch of force, like we're pressuring ourselves, like we're our own worst critics. No, remember that conversation we had where Mark and I were talking about, this is maybe 3-4 weeks ago, about the difference between pushing and running. Just two different words. Okay, I can push towards my goals, or I can run towards my goals. I can push through adversity and persevere, which sounds hard, and it can be, and you have to do that sometimes. Or I can have this open, free-flowing experience where I'm running and the wind is in my face, and just the metaphor of that for me occurred totally differently. Speed, I like speed. Money likes speed, right? And I think that's what you're describing, Evelyn, is that you're moving. It's kinetic. It's action, right? Action does it. Action feels good.
One more thing, John, is that sometimes we get in our comfort zone. You know, we sadly just sit there because we're comfortable. We are getting a salary and we forget that things can change like this. Something can happen. Like it happened to me. The rug was pulled from under me, you know, and I had to get something going. Thankfully, when COVID started, I saw this, you know, advertisement from Sophie, and I started to get the wheels in motion. But I was still in my comfort zone, right? I was slowly finding that private label, blah, 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 the whole research. And that's good because you're still moving, right? But the point is, right now that you're comfortable, right now that you have a salary, right now is the time to do it. Right now that you have that income, whatever is coming from, because tomorrow is not promised. It is not. We don't know when we're going to lose that. I mean, it happened to me. So we need to do something to create a little bit of a side income, whether it is $300 extra that you need for a car payment, or is $3,000 for a mortgage payment, whatever it is that you need to supplement. Just think about this. Do you have 6 months to a year saved up? I mean, come on, go back to listen to what Adrian told us. He taught us all this. So we are in uncertain times. We are always in uncertain times. What do we know? Nothing, right? We know what we can do, what we can accomplish. So that would be my take on it. You know, like you said, take action. What are we going to do this week to make it happen?
Beautiful. Thank you, Evelyn. And I think we've got one more person who's going to be speaking today, and it's the one who runs through snow. She walks through snow. She. How you doing?
Oh, John. Hi, John. Hi, everyone. Evelyn, as you were talking, a phrase came to my mind. What's that saying about good being the enemy of great? And that just, confirms that, when we're in our comfort zone and we've got money coming in from another source, e.g., 9 to 5, we get really comfortable and we don't, invest or put our energies in the other streams that could be our fallback positions, right? So it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was just thinking that same thing today. Because I was reading something that said, don't quit your 9 to 5 until the side business or side hustle is producing in excess of 3 times what your 9 to 5 is producing every month, right? And I was just thinking along those lines. And, and this was coming up for me because I approached a particular person and I was saying, like John said, could I help this person get what they want? Because as I do that, then I know by default, I'll get what I want, right? And so I approached this person, we're having this lovely conversation, and the person said no. And I was like, that's great. I wasn't attached to it, no emotion. I didn't take the refusal as a personal rejection. I just said, great to know. Thanks for the feedback. I love that, you give me your response as quickly as you have. And that was me moving on, right? Because what I felt was, until people realize for themselves that they need to get out of that comfort zone, or at least start looking at alternatives in preparation for when the rug gets pulled from under them, you can't convince another person of that. You can't make them see, the reason. You can't make them hear a voice of reason. That's outside of your circle of influence or even control. You can't control another human being, right? So, when I had that today, I thought, you know what, that's fine. I don't like you any less. I'm not gonna not ever talk to you again, but it's good. It just means that, in this quest that I have, you're not one of the people I'm gonna be helping to get what they want. And that's fine. And I just took that and I was like, okay, great. Okay, next kind of thing, right? And so what was coming up for me was with it. I mean, I'm facing like major challenges at the moment with something that I'm probably I'm actually sold out on. And so I'm having to think of, okay, that's a given. I'm not going to deny what the status quo is right now, but there's got to be another way to keep moving forward. And so I've just said to myself, what are those other ways to keep moving forward? So, John, when you said inspired ideas, that was just so spot on. It rang true because I took time out yesterday, today, and while I walked in the snow, I thought, you know what? Think outside the box. There's got to be something you can still be doing to keep the momentum. You don't want to stop now. You want to keep moving forward. And it's amazing. Between yesterday and today, I have a whole bunch of ideas that I've started putting into action. And I'm just like, yeah, you can do this, you can do that, you can focus here, you can focus there. And so I'm still moving. It may not be at the speed I'd like to go, but I'm still moving. I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping, So it's just amazing how today's session is just ringing true on so many levels for me. So thank you so much, John. And thank you, Madam Chop Chop, for your contribution.
Thank you, Olivier. And when do you move into your castle?
I get the keys on the 27th of February.
Are we going to see you before then? You've been camera down for the last week or something.
I am going to be camera down for the rest of the month, mostly, unless I'm doing my my sessions, because I am surrounded by boxes. So I have to create a corner somewhere with an acceptable background to be on video.
Very good. Well, we love you, our friend.
I love you guys too.
Awesome stuff. Very good. We got 2 more hands that just went up, and we got 3 minutes. Let's go to Virginia and Ingrid. We may go a minute or 2 over. Hey, Virginia.
Hi, good morning here in the States. Good evening, abroad. Just real quick, I love what everyone has said, and I'm in total agreement with it. And I just want to let you know that I am working on something that has come to light in the last year, that because my father was born in what was the former Czechoslovakia, I am entitled to dual citizenship. So that's been intriguing, trying to track down his birth certificate, because that little city is now in Ukraine. It's going to prove the biggest challenge. But what I've done is I have done my research on what I needed to do. And it's not so much that the advantage, really, as I see it, would be that I could move freely in the European countries, and I wouldn't be imposed to restrictions that my American passport would have. I have a Czech passport, Czech citizenship. But anyway, so to do that, I put a goal of wanting to go over, and I'd love to be able to stay over there for a few months and have my internet business working from Prague or Brno or wherever, and would have to learn a little bit of the language. So I'm taking a Pimsleur course, and I just was wondering if anybody here who's Aminta Česky. No, nobody understands Czech. It's only like 12 million people that speak it. It's a very not commonly used language, Czech, but it's interesting. So I'm like, on lesson 4, I can actually say sentences.
That's great.
It's gonna be something fun to do, to project for where I'd like to see myself in the future. If it never happens, okay, I've learned the Czech language. I'll learn a little bit more about my heredity on my dad's side. And anyway, that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Great. Let us know how that goes. Thank you, Virginia. And give us a profile, because now we've got member profiles. And,
are we up and ready to do those?
Oh, we're way past ready. Yeah, it's published. It's done.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. And let's wrap up today with the mighty Ingrid, my favorite violinist on planet Earth and beyond. Ingrid. Where's Ingrid? We got to get our microphone unmuted, and then we shall hear Ingrid.
There I am. Is that better?
Is. Yes.
This is how I always start. There I am. Is that better? Thank you. Today was really great. It's funny because yesterday I spent a lot of part of my day yesterday doing three-way calls for people in my team in my other life, which is the Beamer technology stuff. And I did 8 three-way calls. So that's when the people have prospects that have questions and then I answer them. And I had pretty well 0 attachment to any of the 8 calls that I made. And all my people called me back later and were just really happy because the calls were great and yada, yada, yada. And it was interesting because since I had no emotional attachment to these calls, they were great. And that's one of the reasons I like to have three-way calls, is because when I am the person doing the talking, I seem to be more, well, I'm more detached. But when I'm the person that, when they're my prospects, I'm less detached. I'm less detached and it actually doesn't flow so easily. So yeah, the game is for me really, that's it. Be detached. Just enjoy it and tweak the situation, right? It's like when you play a piece and you start to screw up and you just have to start to improvise a tiny bit until you figure out where you are, and you just do it. You can't stop and think, oh gosh, what's happening? You don't even have time for that. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. And there's that dog. That's in your profile picture.
Yeah, there she is. This is Sheba. She's a Jack Russell terrorist and she's living up to her name today. Oh boy.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, Ingrid. You know, there's a saying, everyone, we'll wrap up with this. This is from the sales world. The best time to make a sale is right after you made a sale. And it's exactly what Ingrid was just talking about. It's like, man, I'm on top of the world. I can't lose. Let me call the next customer. Right. So that's the flow, the non-attachment, the inspired action. So I will see you all tonight. Of course, tune in to our e-commerce work group with Evelyn today. And I'll be back tonight for our book study at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Before you go, before everyone goes, can I just remind everyone that on Friday, we're going to be in the hospitality suite, raising a glass, celebrating our wins, and Valentine's Day?
That's right. We will be there. And so now part of the game is this week to identify a win that you want to make known on Friday after our general session. So this way we can all recognize that. And look, what we validate expands, right? So we make that real, right? And now it's not just real to you, it's real to the group, right? Look, I published the product. I had this, this win, whatever it was. So no win is too small. It all counts. I'll see you guys real soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.